Step 3 is running cable. This can often be the trickier part of the install because if you're not careful, your spool of wire is going to end up looking like early 2000s Russell Brand. Not fun. Let me show you a couple tricks. Pro tip, the day before install, go out to your hardware box and pull out all the bags of end fittings. Then grab 3 containers. One for the acorn nuts, one for the washers, and one for the standard nuts.
Got him!
Option 1, grab a 5-gallon bucket, grab your spool of wire, drill about a 1/8 hole into the top of your bucket, feed the wire through, and you're good to go. The second option is similar, but this time we're going to take our bucket and we're going to screw it down to either a board or in this case a sawhorse. That's going to help prevent the bucket from tipping over as you're pulling the cable out. The next thing we're going to do is drill 2 holes about 3.5 inches from the bottom of the bucket, allowing us to run a dowel through the bucket, holding down the spool. That way as you're pulling the cable out, it'll keep that spool under control. Trust me, these 2 extra steps will make a big difference. To start, grab your cable and run it through any intermediate post you have on a segment. In this case, we just have this one. Now it's time to make the first crimp. There's 3 things we're shooting for here. First is that the stud is fully seated onto the cable. Second is that we're crimping on the smallest setting on the crimper. This will be marked by a 1-2 or 1/16. Third, make sure you crimp as close to the opening of the stud as possible and hold onto that cable so it doesn't slide as you're crimping. Now we're going to take the stud, thread it through the start post, and install a washer and nut. For segments 10 feet or longer, we want the stud to be flush with the nut. For shorter segments, we want about 3 to 4 threads exposed. The reason being, for short segments, you only have a couple rotations before it's tight, and then for long segments, it's going to take a few more rotations and you'll pull more thread. Now that we've installed the end fitting into the start post, we're going to come to the end post, pull the cable tight, and then make a mark on the inside corner of the end post. This is where we'll cut the cable, make the crimp, thread the end fitting through the post, and install the washer and nuts. Now all that's left is to tighten. We're going to grab our vice grips, and we're going to clamp down on this flat spot where we made our crimp. We're going to take our 11mm socket, and we're going to give it a few turns. The goal here is to have about 5 to 6 threads exposed by the time you're done tensioning, so you have just enough room to put the acorn nut on. Tension your cables until there's very little play.